All right, so this is our shortened version of Pear Deck. It's myself and Miss Carrasquillo. So I'll be running the slides and Miss Carrasquillo will be in the chat monitoring for us. So on the agenda, we're gonna go through some quick Pear Deck basics, just how do you get Pear Deck, what is Pear Deck. In part 2, we're gonna be discussing creating a Pear Deck. And then part 3, we're gonna do student pace versus live Pear Deck, and then we're gonna save the end for questions. So as with all of our PDs, we'll do parts, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end of every part. Ms. Carrasquillo is in the chat, so if you do have a question while we're presenting something, please feel free to put it into the chat, and Ms. Carrasquillo will answer it or present it to the group.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we are going to begin.
Hi, we're excited to tell you that you can add the power of Pear Deck to Google Slides. Imagine if you could engage every student in your class. What if you could see instantly who's with you and who's struggling to keep up? That's the power of Pear Deck, a formative assessment tool designed by teachers and integrated with Google Classroom to support 100% student engagement. Pear Deck brings your slides to life with interactive questions that can be added to any presentation. We're making it easier than ever to bring the power of Pear Deck to your class. Start with Google Slides, get the Pear Deck Google Slides add-on, and add interactive questions or formative assessments throughout your slide deck. When you're ready, be sure to present with Pear Deck. Your students will join your Pear Deck session from any device with a web browser. Direct them to peardeck.com/join and enter the session code to begin. As you advance your slides, students will be prompted to answer your questions, and their answers will appear on your teacher dashboard in real time. Answers can be displayed anonymously on the classroom projector. So instead of worrying about getting the right answer and feeling silly in front of peers, your students are putting ideas out there in a safe, anonymous way, discussing and learning from each other. And that's just the beginning of what you can do with Pear Deck and Google Slides. 100% student engagement is just a deck away.
All right, so that was just a quick short video about the possibilities of Pear Deck, and we're gonna get into the basics and creating. So when we're thinking about just the basics or what you need to know, we really wanna talk to you about how do I get the add-on for Google Slides. So the foundation is Google Slides. You have to download the add-on, and then what are some of the features of Pear Deck? So here, as you can see on my toolbar, I already have Pear Deck as an add-on. So I've already selected. If you don't already have Pear Deck, you would go to add-ons, get add-ons, and then you'll see that Pear Deck will pop up. So you would just select that and it will install onto your Google Drive, which will pop up in Slides for you. So now that I have the Pear Deck add-on, you can essentially turn any Google slide into an interactive slide for students. So we're gonna start with just an untitled presentation, but you can take an old presentation that you have and make it interactive. So in order to do that, you just press the Pear Deck add-on feature, and you're gonna see that it's gonna load on the right-hand side. So now on the right-hand side, you have all these different features. So start lesson, you're not selecting until you've completed all of the slides that you want students to utilize. Here you have, there's a video that can help you with how does Pear Deck work, publishing and sharing your lessons, requiring students to sign in. So I know we've talked a lot about this during this school year because remote learning came on so fast. We have discussed that we didn't ask students to sign on in the lower grades. We just created a slide with their name. But in the upper grades, they were asked to sign in. So if you do ask students to sign in, they will need their DOE emails and to know their passwords. If you don't require students to sign in, they won't need anything except the link. And then here you would just go to the Pear Deck website to review your decks. And we'll go into all of that in a little bit. A really great feature of Pear Deck is they already have template libraries made, so you have pre-made options. So you would just click template library, and then you can kind of go in and explore the different types of templates that they offer you. So they have beginning, during, and end. They also have critical thinking questions, social emotional, example questions. Littles is one of my favorites just because it's adorable. Math, science, social studies, ELA, etc. And so I'm just gonna click one just so you guys can kind of see. So here, there's all of these different social emotional slides that Pear Deck has already developed for you. And what's great about these slides is you can also change these. So these templates are also editable as well once you put them into your slides. And we'll work on this as well, don't worry. So going back, you can also make any one of your, you can make any one of your slides an interactive slide. So if you have something already created, you can then just add a text box or a choice box or a number, a website, a draw, or a draggable to an already created site or to something that you created on your own. For me personally, I think the draw feature is the best one, and that's kind of the one I use most of all because they can add text, they can draw, they can insert shapes. There's a bunch of different functions that they can do with that. And then the last feature of the Pear Deck menu is add audio to slides. So unlike Google Slides where you had to go to insert audio and find the audio on your drive, you can just add audio here. Now, if it's not added as a Google slide, like if you post this as a Google slide and not as a Pear Deck, the audio doesn't translate. So it does have to be a Pear Deck slide posted with the link. So
I'm sorry, Amanda, can you repeat that? Because I think that was one of my biggest things.
So with the audio,
Uh-huh.
so when you add audio to a Pear Deck slide, if you don't post it correctly with the link to the Pear Deck, it's not, and you just post it as like a Google slide from your drive, it won't work.
It won't work when they enter the Google Classroom and then go from there?
They have to go to the link.
Okay.
They can't, so we'll show you that in a few minutes,
Okay.
but it's important how you post it. So if you're assigning it from your drive, because on your drive, when it's sitting there, it's still Google Slides.
Right.
It's not a Pear Deck until you start the lesson and you have that link. Students have to go in with the link. They can't go into it as a Google slide.
Got it. Okay.
I think it'll be more clear when we show you how to assign, but yeah, just be careful of that.
But
Okay.
Daisy, if you post the link in your Google Classroom, then it will work.
Then it will work.
So, like,
okay.
you can still put it right on the Google Classroom, but instead of uploading it as a Google slide, if you just copy and paste the link right into the stream of Google Classroom and the kids click on it, then it will work.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions just about the features? Because we are gonna create one with you, but just in terms of the features. So I think Daisy's question was really great just about the audio, because I think sometimes people get confused and they think they can use the audio on their Google Slides. Everybody's okay to continue?
Yep.
All right, so we are going to move on to creating a Google slide. So when we create Google Slides, we usually kind of use a mix of the template library in terms of like social emotional check-ins and end of lesson check-ins, and then creating your own slide. And then we're gonna show you how to start the lesson. And then we also have a pre-made example to show as well. So basically this is a blank presentation that you can use. If you want to spice up your Google Slides templates, I'm just going to put in the chat a link to Slide Carnival, because again, this is a shortened version, so we're not going to go into the Slide Carnival and downloading the template, but it is something that you can explore. So this is the Slide Carnival This is a Slide Carnival website, and as you can see, it just has different templates that are fun for the kids and for you, and kind of spice it up. So this is the link in the chat in case you do kind of want to explore that. We suggest that you download your template first, use it in Google Slides, and then open it up to create your Pear deck. But we're just gonna do a blank one for today. So with any Google slide, you can resize it. I know that some of the concerns were around like the size of area of work that students have. So if you do want to resize it, you want to go to File and Page Setup. And here, this is the setting currently of the size of the slide. You can click Custom, and you can customize your page setup. So you can make it the size of a paper if you'd like. You can make it bigger or smaller. Me personally, I'm just gonna leave it this size unless you're utilizing it for something like a quiz where students would need large areas, or something like a writing assignment, or something where students are drawing. So it really depends on the assignment, what size you would like your Google slide to be. And then you just add the Pear Deck add-on to that. So really just thinking about the volume of work that's going to be on a single page will help you decide what size. Once that's done, you can then add in, so let's just go to beginning of lesson, and we can just choose a template. So if I select this template, what do you wonder about today's topic? You just select it, and it will automatically pop up into your Google slide presentation. So now I have my first page. If you want, you can delete it. If not, you can just type on it. I'm just gonna delete it. And here you have, what do you wonder about today's topic? So now, like I said before, this is editable, so you can change the font if you'd like. You can remove some of the images if you'd like and put a different image in. And then here, I don't know if it's very visible. Can you see the symbol at the bottom left-hand corner of the Pear Deck? Yes, okay.
Yes.
So this symbol means that it requires students to type. That's what this symbol is. So this slide is a typing
What
slide.
symbol? I'm sorry.
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What symbol? They're ready to present? No, at the end of the Pear Deck and this site?
So the symbol that I'm rolling over with my mouse that I'm circling, can you see that with the pear and then
No.
the like icon?
No. You know what? I'm gonna get out of here and come back again. Something is not right.
Okay.
I can't see any of that.
The screen? What
Yeah.
about the screen that Ms. Broge is sharing?
No, I can see you, or I can see Miss Broch, but I can't see the screens.
And, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, try that.
All right.
So this is the type slide. So basically you would be requiring students to type into the slide. It's not going to populate on this slide. It's going to give you a response that is separate. And we'll show you examples, don't worry. But this is a different type of slide than a draw slide. Another example that I just want to give you while I'm in the template library is a draggable slide. So we'll just put this one in. And so as soon as the symbol populates for us, while I'm waiting for that to populate, something else important that we want to mention is please do not delete this box. So if you click this box and delete it, your slides will no longer be interactive. This is what makes the slides interactive. So if you select it and accidentally delete it, it will not be interactive anymore. Going to this slide. So can you see that this is a different icon? Okay, good. So this slide, it will populate for students in the top corner, and they will drag the icon, whether they like the lesson or did not like the lesson. That's a different type, or like the homework assignment. That's a different type of interactive slide that Pear Deck offers. So now let's say you've inputted all of your templates that you wanted to use, and now you're ready to create your own slide. So you're just gonna click here, and you can create any type of slide to be interactive. So if you say, you know, draw and write a word that begins with D, right? And you can leave this blank for students. You would go over to the feature menu and you would just decide how you want this to be presented to students. Do you want them to text, which is the type? Do you want them to write right on the slide and be able to draw? Is it a draggable, a multiple choice? Like I said, the feedback that I've gotten and my personal opinion is the draw slide is the best one and the one that's used most frequently. So you would just select draw and you're gonna see it's gonna pop up that it's adding the interactive question to your slide. And now you see that this is a different symbol. So this guy is like drawing like an artist. That means it's a draw slide and students can draw anywhere right on this specific slide. Okay, if you wanna add audio, you would just click add audio. And you're gonna see this is gonna come up. The one downside of this, just being honest, and I don't know if Kristen, you feel the same, is if I'm trying to read something off the slide, you can't.
Yeah, you can't move that. So I've had to like write down what I had written on my Google slide because it's a really nice way to just, even if you want to add verbal directions, like even writing, you know, write a letter or draw a picture of a word that begins with the letter B, you know, for extra support for students with special needs, ESL, you know, even if it's just a kindergarten lesson, it's really nice to include the verbal directions and the audio along with the written directions. But again, if you just want to read what you wrote on the slide, you can't kind of see it. So you're going to have to write it down on the side.
Yeah,
that's true.
you can move it a little bit, like down or up, but it has to stay in that window, so it is difficult.
Yeah.
But just all that you have to do is press add audio and then you press record. So draw and write a word that begins with the letter B. Pause, save. You can listen to it. So draw and write, and then you just click add audio to slide.
That's cool. Ms. Genzelman said she usually opens up the Google Slides in just a new tab next to where she's working. She records on one slide and reads off the other. That's a really great idea.
That's better than I was like screenshotting the slides, like reading them, putting them on.
Writing it down, like that's not efficient at all.
Yeah, it's so much easier. I just open it right next to it and I read it, and then
Perfect.
I'll go back to the other slide and I'll hit stop.
Perfect, yeah. We have to get creative with this because I was like, why wouldn't they make it smaller and like on the bottom so you could read it while you're recording it?
Yeah.
But that is basically how to add the audio and how to create the slides to be interactive. Are there any questions just around creating a Pear Deck?
No.
Everybody's good? Okay. So we do want to move on because it is 1:24 to starting the lesson. So there's two different ways that you can present the lesson to students. So you want to press start lesson. And then you see here that there's a student-paced activity as a choice or instructor-paced activity. So the student-paced is basically just letting students do it asynchronously or basically whenever they want. Where the instructor-paced activity is real time. It's happening in real time for the students and this is live. So whether it's remote learning and you're doing it via Google Meet or you're in the classroom and you're doing it with the students while they're at the rug and displaying it on the smart board, this is real live lessons. Oh, sorry, Miss Mana, we go to start lesson. Let me just go back. So right here on this feature bar where it
Uh-huh.
says start lesson. You just click start lesson, and those two choices are going to come up. So we did want to do with you just the interactive one quick so you could kind of see what it's like. So I'm going to choose instructor pace first. We'll put the link in the chat for you so that you can see it. If you can join it, great. Just so it gives you both sides. Like now you've seen it as a teacher, and we're going to go in and look at it as a student. So if you're doing live instruction or real time, you would click the instructor pace. And so what's going to pop up now is a code. So does everyone see that code that's popping up? It says joinpd.com.
Yes.
And it has the code. So
Yeah.
you could display that. Another option is you can just put the link. You click link, and then you would copy it right into the chat. Students are able to click into that link and should be able to access it as well. So I'm gonna go there as well just so we can see it. All right, and as you can see on the bottom, as each student joins, the number will go up. So right now we have 8 students connected. And we'll just give it kind of one more minute.
Rose, did I do it right? Did you see my work?
I didn't open it yet.
Okay, okay.
So for me personally, when I'm doing this live, I display it until I know that all the students have logged in, or the students that are able, because sometimes students have difficulty and that's okay. You
Okay.
just sign it for them later and share. So we have 14 people connected, so
Okay.
we'll just start it. So you would press continue. And so here, this is the one that I was displaying for you. And there are 8 out of 15 responses. So as a teacher, you're seeing the student view, but I'm projecting the teacher view when you go live. So when you go live with the students, you'll see how many students have answered out of how many students are logged in. You'll see that there's a green that you're presenting. And then you have a couple other options over here where you have show responses, and that'll show the student work. You have lock screen, which means you can lock your screen so students can't answer anymore. But also a great feature with this, if you hold lock screen down, you'll see that a timer will come up. So you have 30 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes. So if you put 30 seconds, say, okay, students, you have 30 seconds to log in, or 30 seconds to complete your work, it's gonna count down for the students on their screen. So all of you who are logged in right now should be seeing this countdown on your personal screen while I'm displaying it here.
Yes, I can see it. Yes, I can.
So it'll count down and then it will lock off the screen. So now it's done. And you'll see here that it says unlock screen. So now your screen is locked where no one else can present.
Okay.
And then we'll click show responses. So here, these are the different responses that our students put, right? How cute.
That's
You
cute.
can show them to anyone. And the beauty of this, which is what they shared in the video, is that names are not presented here. So
Okay.
let's say, Daisy, that you wrote dog.
Okay.
You got B and D confused.
Okay.
It's not going to point out that it was you, Daisy, so that the kids don't feel embarrassed when they're sharing. You can kind of just say, oh, I noticed someone confused the B and the D. Oh, boys and girls, we do that all the time. Let's make sure, and you kind of go over the difference between the two letters. Obviously, in the upper grades, you know, it might lead itself down a different path, but it's okay if a student makes a mistake because it's not going to shout out that specific student. The student will know because maybe it's their color and their work, but the class isn't going to know if you're presenting live.
Okay.
And then so you could go through this and share the work. Now let's say that happens where you notice that there's a clear mistake. Over here, you have the option when going live that you can present a new prompt. So you could click here, new prompt, and then you can select something that you would like to do here. So like maybe you say, you know, draw 2 things that you learned, et cetera, after you reviewed that misconception, which is here.
Sorry, did you pick your prompts prior to your presentation, obviously? So you have like a where to put these prompts, and then you pick the one that you want. Yes?
I'm not sure what you mean, Bruna.
Okay, so when you want to put a prompt, is because you already had that prompt prior to your presentation, or you have it in your presentation?
No, because the prompt would be like, let's say the kid got it wrong and you want them to try again in a similar way. In the original presentation, you don't have it because you put your one question.
That's right.
For example, like draw and write a word that begins with B. But if a student gets it wrong or makes a pretty like big error and you want them to try again, you can click that and almost like impromptu add another prompt or another similar question.
Okay, so you have that. You can do prompts and then they'll show up.
Right,
like
and
a
you add it
do-over?
kind of on the fly.
Is it like a do-over?
Yeah, kinds of.
Yeah.
So you would just click new prompt here, but like Kristen said, it's impromptu. So it's not something that you had on your slide. It's because of what's happening in your live lesson. So just like we do on the spot teaching in the classroom, remotely it would be the same.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you're done, you can end the session. You can make it student paced, and we'll talk about the takeaways in just a minute. So now I've ended the session, and you can name it if you'd like. So we could name it like demo. And see this box where it says publish student takeaways? So you want to click that box and you'll say save and end session.
Okay.
And now it's going to publish those takeaways.
Right.
So the takeaways go right to your drive. And what the takeaways are, it's what the work that you guys all just did in Google Doc form. So we'll try to go there. Sometimes it doesn't work. While that's loading, we have an example of a Pear deck that we created for guided reading. And so this is what it could look like and how it could be used. Kristen will do the asynchronous side, and I'll just talk about the live side first, since that's what we did. And then Kristen will talk about how she took this and made it to work asynchronously or student pace. So basically what we did was we took guided reading, the templates we've been working on at school, the formats we've been working on at school, and we thought about what could it look like in remote learning. So we do start with the sight words depending upon the level. So here's just like a blank box, and we added the draw. So we would say to students, please write the word the, and they would write the word the on this slide. Same for all 3. Then here, this is what we do with the book introduction. So here, because it's animals that sting, can you draw an animal that you know that stings? And that's why this is a draw side. And then reviewing the vocabulary. So we had students highlight or circle the word defend on this page while we're introducing the vocabulary. Same here. Then we inserted the strategy. Now, if you notice, this isn't a draw slide or an interactive slide. Every slide does not have to be interactive for it to be a Pear deck lesson.
Right.
You can pick and choose which slides you want students to interact with and which ones you don't.
Okay.
Then we just put the book, and as you can see, the book is not an interactive slide. And then once we get back to the discussion and the work, it becomes interactive again. And then we go into teaching a new sight word, same, and then word study. And if you notice, all of these are draw slides. Again, just that's my favorite, and I think that works best for the kids. So Krista, I don't know if you want to explain how you made it asynchronous, and I'll just let me know when you want me to flip through.
Did you take screenshots of the book and you just put them there?
Yes.
Okay.
Or you can, Ms. J, you can also just download the PDF right from RazKids.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's super easy. And then you can just take screenshots of the PDF and put it right into the Google slide.
Okay, thank you.
So like Ms. Broach said, I was thinking of, okay, now how could I use this and maybe gear it a little more towards special ed, the asynchronous, right? So like, can we do guided reading when the kids are not able to log on or do live with you? And Pear Deck is a really nice way to do it because you can use that audio feature to record yourself modeling. So it's like you're there and you're going through all the steps, all the Jan Richardson, you know, the lesson plan template that we follow, but using the audio to not only provide a little extra directions, but also to do a model, to preview the strategy, to mess up on a word, right? And then use the strategy just like we would do if we were in the classroom, showing them how you would use the strategy to get through the page and so on. So that's where the audio feature, I feel like, is really beneficial when you're going to use Pear Deck, but it's not live. And this is what we were talking about, Daisy, in the beginning, where once you click start lesson and you do it student pace, you can just put the link right into Google Classroom, and then the kids can do the Pear Deck lesson at their own pace.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep.
Okay. I could show you an example real quick if you want.
Okay.
If you want, Broj.
I'll stop here. And then we just had a question in the chat while Miss Carrasquillo is sharing her screen. So Miss Owens had asked, like, can you insert a video? Absolutely. So remember that it is Google Slides with a Pear Deck add-on. So everything that you can do in Google Slides, there's just an add-on for Pear Deck. So a lot of the teachers were utilizing Pear Deck to do their daily lessons. So they would put in a video of their mini lesson, whatever it was. And that slide obviously wouldn't be interactive and except for the video. And then the following slides would have a draw feature on it.
About the draw feature, I think it's amazing, but do the kids have to practice the drawing, the lettering, the writing? Because that is a little bit difficult, right?
So it depends. The draw feature also has typing, so they can type with text as well. That's why I just feel like, in my personal opinion, the draw feature is best because it lets them type with text right on the slide, as opposed to a text slide, which lets them type to the side of the slide.
Okay, and just basically an example right here of how you can include audio, right? So for the book introduction, okay, for just as an example, you know, today we're gonna read a book. Instead of the students having to read all that only, right? The audio portion of this slide is me saying that, just that. Today we're gonna read a book, so you're acting just like you would be doing during guided reading live with the students, but you're not there. Same thing for vocabulary, right? If you have vocabulary that you want to preview, right? It's vocabulary for a reason. The students may not know the words, so you want to include an audio of you going through each word and explaining what it is and what it means. And then you can do the same thing for the strategy. You're just using that audio feature. Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten some really nice feedback from parents, from the students themselves around just it being user-friendly. And especially if they're not able to do it live with you, it's very, you know, if you go through it one time with them, you share your screen, you take them through it, and they can do it, you know? And then it's the same thing for math. It's really, really beneficial if you know that like you're just not able to get a certain, you know, a handful of kids on live with you for whatever reason it is. Pear Deck, we just feel it's like the next best thing to live instruction.
Yeah.
And how can you add the books that you want to read to them, for example, or that is not epic, for example? How can you add books into this?
So the ones that we just showed in those two presentations there were straight from RazKids. So when you log into your RazKids account, there is an option to download the book as a PDF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you download it, what you would need to do then is take a screenshot. If you have a Mac, it's easy. It's Shift Command 4, and then you just drag it and you screenshot it, and then you can insert it into the Google slide just like you would any picture. And Ms. Broge taught me a nice little technique that I use all the time now. Just if you want to make the book the only thing on the Google slide, you would want to set it as the background, because then the kids can't drag it, they can't move it, it stays there.
And you can set it as a background only for those slides that have.
Right, you don't have to do it for every slide. You can do it just for that slide. Exactly.
Great.
Yeah, really cool. And then what you could also then do if you wanted to, if you just have the book up, let's say, and that's the only thing you want on the slide, but then you make it a Pear Deck interactive slide for drawing, the kids can use the yellow to highlight or to just drag underneath, you know, if you're teaching them to drag their finger under the words, if they actually want to drag the pen underneath while they're reading, they can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a fantastic thing because it helps with everything that the slides were lacking. So it's fantastic.
So yeah, so it's really great in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. So I just want to show you the takeaway feature and then just show you how to do the student pace, which is what Miss Carrasquillo was showing us, just how would you make a Pear Deck slide student pace, and then we'll take any last questions. So I'm gonna show you my drive only because it's still loading for the takeaways that you guys did. Can you see on my drive where it says Pear Deck?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's going to pop up on your drive once you click publish takeaways. So you will have a Pear Deck folder. It will make it for you. And then you click takeaways. And so now these are all of the takeaways that I published, just like I showed you. So I'm just going to click into one. So we did give a math quiz a few weeks ago. And you would click into that folder. It does create like multiple folders.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And you can see here that this is the math quiz. I rename them with each student's name. So it doesn't come like that. I just rename them so it would be organized.
Yep.
So I'll just click into one. You can see it's a Google Doc, and it's going to show you the question, and then it'll show you the student response.
Yep.
Like this takes a very long time to load, so don't think that you did anything wrong. You just have to kind of be patient with it. So you see here that for this slide, it just asks for the student to type their name. So this was his response. He typed Eric. And then it's going to give you a picture of the slide. So here, this is what the slide looked like. And this is an example of how I altered the size. So this is paper size, 8.5 by 11. And then this is Eric's answers.
Right.
So here he typed in 12 and he typed in why it was even. And then here he drew and typed. So this is an example of him utilizing the draw feature where he has the ability to draw, but he can also type. So for every Pear Deck lesson that you publish the takeaway, you'll be able to see what the slide looked like and then what the student worked
The
with.
responses. That's awesome. Yeah. You can also like do side notes, like collect data and things.
Yeah, I mean,
right? It lets you.
Yeah, we collected it. The reason we did it this way is we collected it for the 3rd grade teachers for an end of year share with them for math. So we did like one question for each module of math, so we could share it with the 3rd grade teachers, so they could kind of see where the kids were at.
That's cool.
Okay, so the last thing that we want to show you before we take questions is just making it asynchronous. So like Kristen was sharing with her presentation, that's something that students would do on their own without it being live. So to do that, you would do the same thing with start lesson. And you would just click student paced activity. And it is sometimes, you know, it does take it a while to kind of load and get ready. I don't know why. I think it thinks really hard, who knows, but it does take it. So don't think you're doing anything wrong when it's loading. So you'll see this message. I usually say you'll press got it.
Got it. Yep.
And then I suggest you copy the link.
Yeah,
You can share it to your classroom if you want. I just think it's easier, in my personal opinion, to copy the link.
Yeah.
So you click copy link, and now that link has been copied to your clipboard. So when you go into your Google Classroom, you would just assign it as an assignment. So if we go here to the classroom,
That's what you were talking about. I cannot do audio without doing that.
Right.
right.
Gotcha.
But super easy to just copy that link and then you throw it up there.
Yep.
So you just select, obviously I have multiple classrooms, but you would just select the classroom and you can go to the classwork tab like you always have. Create the assignment. And then you'll see it'll pop up. Things are moving slow. And then just here where it says add, you would just add the link. And on a Mac, it's Command V to copy it. And you'll see that the link will add for the student work. And then you can assign it to whichever students you want or the whole class. So now it's right here. Students would just go in and click the link and it'll bring them right to the Pear Deck, just like it brought you guys to the Pear Deck.
So in this case, you don't have to put for each student, make a copy for each student, nothing. You just do this presentation.
Yes.
This
So
is
you don't have to make a copy for each student. You don't have to do anything. The Pear Deck will do it for you.
awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Now, I have a question. I understand that we have Pear Deck only till the 30th of this month. And after that, can we, I registered for a PD that they said that they will give us 6 months of Pear Deck. But what else can we do? Do we have to pay for it? The school is going to get us Pear Deck. What are we doing?
So you know as much as we know.
Yeah.
I would assume that the DOE, so it has nothing to do with Archer currently, the contract that we have. It has to do with the central, and they had the contract with Pear Deck. So